On fiscal oversight, will now come into session. Trey, go ahead and call the roll.
Senator Thompson Rehder.
Present.
Senator Bernstetter. Senator Searpoit. Senator Coleman. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Koenig. Senator Rizzo. Senator Roberts.
Seeing that we have a quorum, I now move that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are in executive session. I move that we bring Senate substitute for Senate committee substitute for Senate Bill 835 before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. The bill is now before the committee. Do we have any discussion on this bill for fiscal oversight? Seeing none, I now move that we do pass Senate substitute for Senate committee substitute for Senate Bill 835. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Thompson Rehder.
Aye.
Senator Bernstetter. Senator Searpoit. Senator Coleman. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Koenig. Senator Rizzo. Senator Roberts.
By your vote of 4-1, you have moved do pass Senate substitute for Senate committee substitute for Senate Bill 835. I now move that we bring before the committee Senate substitute number 2 for Senate Bill 862. Do I have a second? I have a second. The bill is now before the committee. Any discussion? The foster care. This is the foster care bill, Social Security benefits, and then had a, I now move that we do pass Senate substitute number 2 for Senate Bill 862. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Thompson Rehder.
Aye.
Senator Bernstetter. Senator Searpoit. Senator Coleman. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Koenig. Senator Rizzo. Senator Roberts.
By your vote of 5-0, you have moved Senate substitute number 2 for Senate Bill 862. Do pass. Thanks, y'all. I now move that we bring Senate substitute number 2 for Senate Bill 872 before the committee. Do I have a second? Thank you. Have a second. The bill is now before the committee. Any discussion? Seeing none, I now move that we do pass Senate substitute number 2 for Senate Bill 872. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Thompson Rehder.
Aye.
Senator Bernstetter. Senator Searpoit. Senator Coleman. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Koenig. Senator Rizzo. Senator Roberts. 5-0.
By your vote of 5-0, you have moved Senate substitute number 2 for Senate Bill 872. Do pass. I now move that we bring Senate substitute for Senate committee substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825 before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. The bill is now before the committee. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I now move that we do pass Senate substitute for Senate committee substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Thompson Rehder.
Aye.
Senator Bernstetter. Senator Searpoit. Senator Coleman. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Koenig. Senator Rizzo. Senator Roberts.
By your vote of 5-0, you have moved Senate substitute for Senate committee substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825. Do pass. I now move that we bring House Bill 1488 up before the committee. Do I have a second? Have a second. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, I now move House Bill 1488 be voted do pass. Do I have a second? Have a second. Any discussion? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Thompson Rehder?
Aye.
Senator Bernstetter? Senator Searpoint? Senator Coleman? Senator Fitzwater? Senator Koenig? Senator Rizzo? Senator Roberts?
By your vote of 5-0, you have moved House Bill 1488 do pass. I now move that we go out of executive session. Do I have a second? I have a second. We are now out of executive session, and I move, we are ready to hear Senate Bill 1456 when you are ready, Senator Rizzo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Rizzo from the 11th Senatorial District. I am also a member of the Missouri Tourism Commission, which is why I'd like to speak to you today about Senate Bill 1456 pertaining to tourism, the Tourism Supplemental Revenue Fund. This is a fund that receives a general revenue transfer to maintain the operations of the Missouri Division of Tourism and the Missouri Film Office. In 1993, House Bill 188 created a funding formula and tourism supplemental revenue fund for the Division of Tourism. Through the formula, a percentage of the growth in tax revenues from tourism-related businesses was to be reinvested each year for tourism marketing. The funding formula went into effect July 1994. The formula and the corresponding tourism supplemental revenue fund were reauthorized in subsequent years. The 2013 reauthorization designated June 30th, 2020 as the sunset for the formula. In January, however, DED and the Division of Tourism were notified that the language in the formula sunset provision pertained also to this tourism supplemental revenue fund itself, not just the formula. As such, the fund is technically sunset. So having said that, this was a kind of a technical issue that we had with the Department of Tourism where they were not trying to keep the funding mechanism in place, but they did want to keep the fund open. It was interpreted, I think, for a long time as there was some ambiguous statute with when the fund sunset, if the formula went with it, and the formula went with it, or the fund, and all this type of stuff. Well, in January, basically, they said the fund no longer exists. So in order for tourism to keep going, we need to go ahead and try to fix this technical fix. The funding mechanism is gone. That's fine. Not worried about that. But we technically, as the best way I can always describe it is when I talk about funds is we just need to keep the bank account open, right? It doesn't mean that we're going to put money into it, whether or not we do or don't. But unfortunately, when the funding formula lapsed, so did the fund. So with that, the Director of Tourism, Dr. Director Fouts, is here today. He can answer some more of your technical questions. It really is a technical fix. But with that, I'll let him take all of your barrage of bullets. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready for him.
That's right.
Come on up. Be sure to leave a witness form.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Stephen Fouts from the Missouri Division of Tourism. Appreciate your time and glad to answer questions. I believe Senator Rizzo recapped this very succinctly, that this is more of a technical issue. We were made aware in January that there was perhaps a new interpretation of the language in the funding formula that did pertain to the fund itself. We recognized several years ago that the formula was going to lapse. We were all very much, I think, unaware that the language pertained to the fund. So we would very much like to just present information on that and try to answer any questions we can.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Senator Searpoint?
Thank you. So all this removal, what is that, if you look at the bill? Page 2, page 3, page 4, it's all removing.
So I believe that the removal pertains to some outdated language that is relative to the funding formula. The division of the funding formula used to include measurements or calculations that were based on what were called then SIC codes, or Standard Industry Classification Codes, which is basically the taxing codes that businesses fall in. And now they are actually organized by what are called NAICS codes, North American Industry Classification System codes. The removal basically eliminates that language because it all pertains to the formula, not the fund.
Any further questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to testify in favor? Anyone wishing to testify in opposition? Anyone for informational purposes only? How about that? This concludes our hearing on Senate Bill 1456. Thank you, Senator. Okay. This concludes our hearing on fiscal oversight.